alongside Dave Brodie and Frank Sittner right behind. Murray Walker describes what happened.
For the 8th time in 12 races, Rob Gravitt has put his white Trackstar Ford Sierra on the left into pole position, with Tim Harvey alongside him on the right. Away they go, 20 laps. Andy Rouse sprints through from the second row up into second place behind Rob Gravitt as they go into Allard Corner. Then it's Tim Harvey in third position. Behind him in the black car, it's Graham Goode. Now down to the complex, and Sean Walker in the background is challenging. And we're looking back now from Rob Gravitt's car and Andy Rouse. He's pushing Gravitt very hard indeed. He's going for the lead. Andy Rouse failing to get it. Gravitt accelerates away. Rouse is going to attack again as they come up to Noble, the left-hander. So it's Gravitt leading on the right, number 11. Andy Rouse in second position. Now, Rouse can't win the championship, but he can win the race. He's won 3 out of the 11 races so far to Rob Gravitt's 8. But Rob Gravitt doesn't need to win. He can take the overall championship with just second place. Rouse pulling up alongside the white Sierra as they go round the left-hander. Now down to the club chicane. And Rouse looks as though he's going through on the inside. Gravitt is actually moving over to let him through. He does so, down to second place. Andy Rouse leads. Now we're with Jeff Allen in his BMW M3, and he is in trouble coming up to the club chicane. In fact, he's right up onto the curbing, slowing right down. Everybody is streaming past him. Oh, and look at that left rear wheel, a big chunk out of the rim. Allen now, here is a replay. Chasing Godfrey Hall's BMW at 140 miles an hour. Up to him and he's hit him. That was the problem. Jeff Allen hits Godfrey Hall, drifts out wide over the curbing, into the pits. So, new left rear, out he goes, and he's got the airline attached to the car. He's pulling the wrenches along. That's tremendously dangerous. But fortunately, Jeff Allen realises the problem and stops. And he's lost a lot of time, changing the wheel, then stopping in the pit lane. Rejoins last, and he's got a lot to do. Now, club corner, Andy Rouse leading by just over a second. Then it's Rob Gravitt, 1.6 seconds ahead of this battle. Tim Harvey and Graham Goode. Sean Walker is 5th, and Lawrence Bristow is in 6th position. Graham Goode, there he is in the black car from Leicester, right up with Harvey. And now this is 10-time Scottish champion Ian Forrest, running very wide, over the curbing, rejoining, lost a lot of places. Built up to racing speed again, but he's lost his momentum. Now, out of Village and on to Brooklands. This is the battle for 3rd position. Behind Andy Rouse and Rob Gravitt, Tim Harvey, Graham Goode, ahead of Sean Walker. They're all in Ford Sierra Cosworth turbos. Each of them have got over 550 horsepower. Down to club, and it's Andy Rouse, Rob Gravitt, Tim Harvey and Graham Goode. Behind them it's Sean Walker, then it's Lawrence Bristow, Dave Brodie, John Cleland in the Vauxhall, 8th position, leading the 2 litres, ahead of Frank Sittner and Kurt Luby. There they are. Onto the chicane, Mark Hales. Mark Hales and Nick Whale. He nerves Nick Whale, pushes him right off the course, up onto the curbing. That was a very brutal passing manoeuvre, but it seems to have worked. A very, very unhappy Nick Whale goes on his way again. Oh, into the pits. Here are the 2 litres. On the left is Frank Sittner, on the right is his teammate Kurt Luby. There's a slim chance for Frank Sittner to become the 1990 overall champion. That's Kurt Luby that's chasing us. But Frank Sittner must win the class, and Kurt Luby is harrying him. And it looks as though there aren't any orders in the BMW team. 26-year-old Kurt Luby on the left from Bolton, kart champion, Formula Ford champion. And there is Netton Lindgren and Chris Hodgetts. Chris Hodgetts in the 2-litre Ford Sapphire, nearly losing it. Trying to catch Netton Lindgren. But now Tim Harvey, Graham Goode, Lawrence Bristow, Dave Brodie goes through, and Sean Walker, number 4. He was up into 4th place. He's obviously got a major problem driving into retire. So, Harvey, good, third and fourth. Lawrence Briscoe, fifth. Dave Brodie there in sixth position. And look at John Cleland in the 2-litre Vauxhall, ahead of, together, Sittner and Kurt Luby. BMW's going at it really hard. Now we're with Frank Sittner making some sort of a signal to Kurt Luby. Perhaps it is keep back, Kurt. I can win the championship if only I can get ahead of John Cleland. Down to Club Chicane. There's that signal again. But it's a signal to go through, and Kurt Luby moves up into second position. Frank Sittner third in the 2-litre class. Netta Lindgren is right behind him. So it's Vauxhall, BMW, BMW, BMW in the 2-litre class. Andy Rouse is still leading overall in the Ford Sierra. Luby ahead. Let's see if he can do anything about John Cleland's Vauxhall. And look at Ned Lindgren there. Sittner, Luby, Netta Lindgren behind them, John Cleland in front of them, and Netta Lindgren is definitely gaining on the two BMWs. That is Ian Flux, another BMW M3. Flux has spun off. He's scrambling to find wheel grip now to get back onto the tarmac and into the race. Luby and Sittner still battling for second place in the 2-litre class. Luby's got it at the moment. No, he hasn't, because Frank Sittner goes through and retakes the second place he lost. But John Cleland in the front-wheel drive Vauxhall is still ahead. Netta Lindgren is still in fourth position. In fifth place in the 2-litre class, it's Markus Österreich. That's the German driver in the Vauxhall Cavalier. And look at Kurt Luby in the white BMW. He's weaving about all over the place, and Netta Lindgren has gone through. It looks to me as though Kurt Luby's got a puncture. He slowed right down. So there is Chris Hodgetts, number 51, and into the pits comes Kurt Luby, and sure enough, left rear puncture. And the ProDrive team mechanics leap onto it. Up on the jacks, off goes the old wheel, on goes the new one. Kurt Luby sitting there impassively, waiting to get away, and look at that old tyre. Kurt Luby goes out, 14.1 seconds. He came in 8th, he's gone out 17th. And Dave Brodie is touring. The man who's making a comeback to the British Touring Car Championship was in 6th place, now touring into the pits. Rotten luck for Brodie, and that is Frank Sittner behind him. So that's both the BMW Works cars in. Kurt Luby's been in and gone out. There is Brodie, here is Sittner, and it's another left rear tyre look. Whoops, Chuck Nicholson, number 53, Chuck Nicholson, the ex-Jaguar driver. Having a go at touring car racing, finding his limits the hard way, back into the race. And Frank Sittner's wheel change is almost completed. It is completed. We're with him. He blasts out of the pit lane, leaving Dave Brodie there, down to 16th place. And that's put an end to Frank Sittner's chances of being overall champion in 1990. Dave Brodie rejoins. Tyre damage, real damage. And it looks like a choice of the wrong comp.